What's going on, Sumoling? Thank you for joining us for another product walkthrough webinar. We are joined by the team over at Continually. Continually helps you capture customer leads, automate scheduling, and keep visitors engaged by using chatbots. Before we dive in, I just want to tell you a few quick things. The first is that we would love to hear about your use case, why you're interested in using Continually. You can go ahead and do that over in the chat room. The second thing is if you have any questions about the tool or the deal, how to get set up, anything like that, go ahead and leave those questions in the Q&A box down below the video. We will circle back to those questions at the end of the walkthrough. And then the third thing is that there will be a replay of this available, so you can watch this as many times as you want. Also, if you need to step out, no biggie, you can watch this again. All right, that's it for me. Hi, Paul, how are you doing?
Hey, thanks very much. I'm doing great, thank you. And I hope everyone who's listening is super pumped as well. We're really excited to show you today how Continually works. And so what I want to do is just briefly, I'll explain the kind of promise behind the idea of what we're trying to build with Continually. I'll give you a practical example of how you can build your own chatbot without any technical expertise required. And then I know there have been a lot of great questions coming in on the deal so far. Be very happy to talk through those. And so if there's anything that's on your mind that isn't clear or that I can explain, I'd love to do that too. So this should be pretty exciting.
Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and let you take it away before my dog starts barking, I think. And, and yeah, Sumolings, go ahead and leave your questions in the Q&A box. We'll circle back to those soon, and there will be a replay of this available.
All right, this is going to be this is my first lockdown webinar, so who knows what might happen. So welcome to Continually. So the premise behind Continually is that if there are people who are buying from your company, they could be anywhere in the world today. And so if someone visits your site and they want to learn more information, they have a question, they want to get in touch, we want to make it super easy, convenient, and a great experience for them to do that. And by using a chatbot to improve that experience, you can increase the number of people who move from being website visitors to becoming qualified leads or customers. So this is a tool that can add real value to your business and does that by getting people the information they need more quickly. So when you sign in to Continually, if you create an account, this is where you start. This is the getting started page. And you'll see there's a few things you can do here on the side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump straight into how to build your first bot. So there's an example account that I've set up. I'm going to go to my bots list. And you'll see here, I've built a bot for a pizza company. And I do like pizza. So this is an example of how you could use Continually for any kind of business. It could be for B2B, where you're in maybe software or marketing services. But here I picked something straightforward. And so what you'll see is this is what we call the bot builder. This is a drag and drop, no code way to create a pretty simple, powerful chatbot. So I'm going to zoom out because I'm on quite a small screen here. The way it works is you have these objects on the canvas that you can just directly control. You can choose different types of content to include in that conversation. And then you drag and drop and use arrows to decide what the flow should be like. So you can include things like messages, questions, images, videos, links to content, you name it. There's a whole range of different actions that you can build here on the side. And so with these, you can build some pretty interesting experiences. So what I've done is I've built this demonstration flow out, and I have here's an example of a question. This is really straightforward. It says, what pizza could we get for you? Everything is very easy to use. So instead of what pizza could we get for you, pizza would you like? You type, it appears straight away, and it's as simple as that. There's an inline preview here on the right-hand side, so you can see what you're doing whilst you work. But if I wanted a more in-depth preview of this, I'm going to publish those changes. And now I have a preview. If this was the Continually website, it will open up here on the side, and I can use this chatbot there as well. So I want to explain a few things that would be really interesting if you're building a chatbot like this. So I've shown you the kind of objects that you can have on your canvas, and you can see the kind of flow. One of the things that often comes up is, how do you personalize the bot to make it more relevant and intelligent for what someone's trying to do? So here, for example, I have a question about what type of pizza you'd like to order. And so you have a series of options here. And what I've done is I've chosen to save this visitor's response as a variable so that I know whenever I come to refer back to what they asked, what they're interested in ordering. So I've called that pizza name. And I can go and I can create other variables when I do that. And then we have a little applause. I ask for a surname. I've given that a variable here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you use this with Google Sheets. So here we can dynamically look up information. In this example, it's using Google Sheets. You can also make a call to an external API. Because of time today, we're probably not going to get to go through all of the features that exist. It would just take too long. But this is a pretty cool example of how you personalize the bot. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the page where I've built that bot. So inside Continually, you have these landing pages. The idea is that as well as installing Continually on your website, you can have these conversational landing pages that are a quick and easy way to send people to a page, maybe for placing a pizza order, without having to inject it somewhere on your site. And you'll see here, I have this landing page called Pizza Co. So I'm going to open this Pizza Co page up. And you can see here, the bot that I was building in the bot builder is appearing here. And so we'll be able to see how it works. All right, so I'm going to go back into my pizza bot. And we have this flow where we're asking about the type of pizza that someone would like. I save their choice. I ask for their name. And then I want to find out how much the pizza is going to cost. Now, a quick way to retrieve information from somewhere else is to store it in Google Sheets. And so what I've done is I've added a Google Sheets option here. I have a spreadsheet which lists the prices for different pizzas. And it looks up in the column pizza name, the value of that pizza order that we just took. So this is a pretty advanced example of what you can do with a chatbot. And so when I go through, if I choose Hawaiian, I'm very excited about my pizza order. It asks for my surname. The bot's going to check how much that will be. And it's going to go off and look in real time in Google Sheets for that information. It comes to $10. Brilliant. So you can see we built a really pretty powerful and capable bot. It doesn't take a lot of time to put that together. That value in Google Sheets could come from anywhere. And so that's a way of explaining how you can build really advanced bots. Now, I don't want to spend too long on that example because there's so many exciting things about the platform that, that I want to show as well. So I've shown you an example of a kind of standalone page because it suited that scenario. But if I was getting started, one of the keys to getting the most engagement on a website is not just to build one really great bot like the one that I did. It's actually to try and have as many bots for as many different customer journeys and as many different customer moments as you can serve. So what would often happen is you'll have an example like maybe I'll take this one. We call this qualified questions. I'm going to call this kind of homepage bot. And there are some really cool things that you can do. So if you're thinking about the homepage of your website, I'm going to make this the first object in my conversation. To really increase engagement, what I often like to do is have a format like this, where you can have more of a kind of menu or quick reply style so that someone can quickly find out the different questions that they have and what you can do to help. So this is using quick replies. In the messages section, I can then branch off to different things and give examples of answers to questions. I might schedule an appointment. So here, I can connect up my calendar. I can set availability rules. So my calendar is not connected, but you can connect the calendar there using Google or Microsoft Outlook or Office 365. and it will look for real-time availability across multiple calendars, book the appointment, send a meeting invite to you and to the attendee. It's a great way to get meetings on your calendar. What I really like about this is that this is really quite an immediate example of a bot. So if I publish that, and here you see this menu format, these quick replies. This is really engaging. So if someone's on the site for the first time, maybe they have a complex question that they want to know about, there's a really good way to redirect them to that. Now, that works great when someone's a new visitor, maybe they're on their homepage, but to increase conversion and to get as many qualified leads as possible, you want to get to all the different points where someone might be frustrated or need more information. So here you can see some other example bots. So you might build something that only appears on a specific page. So here, for example, I've built another bot that's for a pricing page instead of targeting rules so that if the URL contains pricing. This is a great way to make sure that if someone's on that page, you know, they're a high intent visitor, and you can create a bot that's only relevant for them. And you can see here, I've used a different format with a message. Do you have any questions about our plans? I've also added a setting so that live chat is enabled on that bot. So if I want to, I can take questions in real time and answer with information that might help someone move forward with a buying decision. So if I dig in here, you can see that the flow of this bot is really different. You know, I want to chat with sales, I'm just browsing, and this can be totally independent of what you're doing elsewhere on your site. And so we see that when a business uses multiple bots, they tend to get higher engagement. And of course, every business is different, but you know, we've seen customers with 10, 12, 15 bots, as many as you can imagine. You have a bot per page. Every time you do that, by making it more relevant, you're increasing the likelihood you're going to answer someone's questions. Now, once someone goes through and engages in that bot, you can sync the data from their conversation to all of the other tools in your marketing stack so that you can follow up with them, add them to your mailing list, and take that data where it needs to go. Now, out of the box, we have a JavaScript API, which means that if you're more technical, that you can really tightly integrate the website and the bot together and do all kinds of cool things. You saw the Google Sheets example we were just looking at. You can also connect to Slack for notifications and for live chat, if that's part of your tool set. We talked about the calendar options that exist. We can automatically send data to Google Analytics, as well as then a whole series of CRM and email marketing tools like HubSpot, MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, Campaign Monitor, Aweber, MailerLite, Drip, Mooseend, SendFox. Zapier connects to everything. And then for our enterprise customers, which is not included in the AppSumo business plan, we have enterprise integrations like Marketo, Salesforce, and Clearbit. So there are some real great options. If you're using any of these tools, you can make sure that any of the data that you get is going into the rest of your marketing stack. And then when it comes to installing the chatbot on your site, all you need to do is take this line of code and add it into your HTML page, or install it with our WordPress plugin, which is really simple and straightforward. So I know that's a very kind of whistle-stop tool. The last thing I'm going to do is show how live chat works. So you'll see on this pizza page that we were looking at, I've activated live chat. And so if I type in, hey there, I'm shouting a little bit. And you'll see the lead appears in your inbox here, and that I've asked for the visitor's email address. So in this case, I'm going to put in pizza lover at hungry. That's not my real email address. And here we go. So I can say thanks. If I say, what can I help you with today? You'll see I'm replying. The replies instantly appearing on the landing page. It's a really cool, slick experience. And it works really well in those situations, like a pricing page where you have a high intent visitor and you want to capture that order straight away. It also works. We have native mobile apps for iOS and Android. So if you're on the go and you're not at your desk, you can take those conversations with you. So Lindsay, I think that's a pretty good run through of some of the key features. I could spend a lot longer digging into how to build a bot or how to connect up to your workflow, but I'd love to hear the questions that are coming in the chat and to see what people are interested in exploring more.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so Sumolings, you heard that. If you have any questions at this point, you can go ahead and leave them in the Q&A box down below the video. I'm gonna just start going through them. In the landing page view, still seeing the chat widget in the bottom right corner, is there any way to make the actual chat interface a full page experience?
Hey, Lindsay, just call that question out again, because I would describe this as a full screen bot. So in the landing page here, the bot takes over the whole page. It
does look like a full screen bot. Is that, this question did come in like about 12 minutes ago or so, so maybe.
So I think this is probably the answer. Let me show you how I did that, because I kind of, it would take too long to have done, or it would be, it was quick for me to jump straight to the example, and it doesn't take too long. I'll show how you do that right here. So when I create a landing page and you choose to create a new page, you get these two choices. So the standard landing page format is what that person might have seen. So you create a more conventional landing page with a traditional sidebar. I've used one of these for scheduling meetings. It works great. And so you can go through and give it all the details. The pizza example is this more immediate full screen bot format, which also works really well. It works particularly well if you are sending traffic to somewhere and you want the person to engage immediately. So I think that's probably the two different options that answer the question.
Can you change the background on the landing page?
Yeah, you can. So let's do that. So this is our landing page editor. Now, these are primarily meant as conversational experiences. So it's not as fully featured as a landing page that you might get in Wix or Squarespace or Unbounce. You can upload a logo. So I don't know if I have one to hand here. But you can add a logo up here on the top left. You can customize the heading. I don't know if I have a background image that I can change this to. So let me see if I can pick one of our standard examples from Unsplash. These are some great stock images that are royalty free. If you have an alternative image, you can add that instead.
Awesome. I think I'm seeing some questions coming in on the chat. I just want to let everybody know we're using the Q&A box for the questions, so that way I can actually like sort through them. Yeah, so if you have any questions, you can leave those there. All right. What's the possibilities, or which possibilities are there to position the chatbot within the website, like instead of the bottom right, bottom left, top right, etc., and change its size?
Right. So the two best ways to do that, I'll go back and I'll show you this in the product. So if you're creating a bot, and I got this question from someone yesterday and they wanted to do something that was a little different. So yeah, I'll pick the bot that I was showing the quick reply format. So there's a few different options for how the bot appears. So there's the message format, which appears like that, and then the chat window, and you can position that on the right or the left. And the quick reply sort of menu format, that can do other things too. You can also have the more discrete button. But what would also be helpful is if you have a specific idea of how you want the chatbot to work, you're not limited to the options that we've given you. We just know that these are the common ones that people want to use most of the time. But it's completely possible to use your own button. And what will happen is if you add a continually class to any element on the page, so you have your own custom button somewhere, and you want to trigger a bot from that, the bot will load according to the targeting rules that we set. So if it's a bot targeted to the pricing page, that bot will automatically load. And that's really simple to implement. You can do that in any landing page builder. Now, you can actually run multiple bots on the same page, and this might seem odd, but it's actually a really smart thing to do. You might have a pricing page with two calls to action, where you have one which is do you have any questions, and a second to schedule a meeting. And you want those to have different flows. So there you can actually say, well, I want to have a second bot or a different bot, and I want to specify what bot I'm going to load. And you create a custom link following this format. This is an attribute that tells us the ID of the bot that you want to load. So if you add that to any element on the page, you can create any button positioned anywhere. So that was the first part of the question about the formats and the triggering of the bots. The second is about the sidebar settings. Now, you can control the color, you can use a gradient, you can choose the style of the chat button, the chat bubbles, you can control the size of the text, and you can make the sidebar thinner or thicker, taller or shorter. Now, those are starting points. I think it's possible to apply a workaround for some custom CSS that's undocumented, but this covers 99% of what people want to do. If you need something different from that, then you could drop us a line to the help desk and we'd be very happy to help.
Amazing. All right, so this user has a bunch of questions that we're gonna just go through. First one, if I have multiple bots, when the messages are sent to each of them, will I get notifications organized by the name of each bot? For instance, if I have one named help and another named sale, how are they organized?
Yes, so that's exactly how it works, where the notification that you get references the name of the bot, whether that appears in your email or in Slack. And so you have that context. We also show you the conversation that the person was having. So if you saw on the, so I'll show you the leads page. And here you can see a list of the people who've been getting in touch. So you see it lists the bot name and it get this additional context, like the page they were on. You can see that I responded, what device they were using, and so on.
Awesome. Question number 2. All right, sorry. If I have multiple bots for my clients, but I don't have them organized into sub-accounts, can I set the messages and live chats from each bot to be sent to each of the respective clients' Slack or mobile app without using seats? If that's not possible, what about leads received from each bot?
Yeah, that's not possible. I mean, we could try and sort of dig into maybe some custom workaround here, but that's not the intended workflow. And so for lots of good reasons, I would discourage anyone from operating different clients' websites in the same account. It's technically possible because if you have a single brand, and we know some customers who do this, we don't limit the number of websites to an account. So that if you have, if Continually had a sub-brand called Continually Light, or if you have a consumer packaged goods company and you operate lots of brands, you might well want to organize those multiple websites into one account. So that's definitely possible. If you're an agency or a marketer working with different, or a web designer working with different clients, then that isn't encouraged, because each client's data should be kept independently so that you don't inadvertently sync data from one client to another set of integrations. So, so it wouldn't be supported to have multiple clients within the same account unless they're operated through sub-accounts.
Cool. Can each bot connect to a different calendar?
Yes, yes, you can. And so I didn't show the calendar connection process, but you'll see each bot here has an owner. And so the way that you separate calendars is that the bot owner has a calendar connection, and you can choose different owners on the team to be the person whose calendar is connected. So you could have, and we have customers who have 10, 15 different users, each with their own calendar, each operating one of those landing pages, which books meetings for them, is a really common scenario.
Awesome. The next question is, would this conflict with another bot such as Ring Blaze, which is an an app that allows customers to call you. So different functions.
So I'm not familiar with Ringblaze, and so the answer is I don't know, but I could find out. And if you drop us a line to help@continual.ly, we'll go investigate. And I bet there's a way you can make the products work together.
Awesome. When will we be able to get live notifications of visitors to my site and the ability to chat with a visitor through the app?
Right. So this question is about whenever you get notifications. Currently, those notifications only happen for people who engage with the bot, and we don't send notifications for general website traffic. The reason that we didn't build that feature originally is that it can get noisy very quickly, and so it hasn't been a popular request until now. But I understand this came up on the deal page questions recently, and I understand how useful that would be for some customers. And so it's something that we're exploring. We're going to put it on the roadmap, and I think it seems like a core feature. So it's one that I think is going to be popular and that we'll want to build because it's come up recently on the deal page. But I don't have detail on how that will work right now.
Awesome. All right. I'm going to ask some of the more recent questions that have come in. Can I purchase multiple codes and then use them for clients?
Yes, that was a great intended use. The way that I would suggest to do that is to stack those codes in a main account and then to use sub accounts so that you can add additional clients over time as your business grows, and that you don't have to predetermine the account structure that you want to have in advance. That's the best way to do it.
All right, we've gotten a couple questions about being GDPR compliant.
Right. Well, Continually is a UK company, and so we love the EU's GDPR rules and are totally compliant with them. It's quite a complex answer from beginning to end. So again, if you want the definitive piece on this, if you email us to help@continual.ly, we'll send you the full response. But the summary answers are that all the data is located in the EU in AWS's Dublin data center, that you'll need a data processing agreement, which again, if you email us through support, we'll get you that for electronic signature. You could have that today. And then you'll need to make some updates to your privacy policy to disclose that you as the data controller are responsible for the data processing that's happened, and that we as a data processor are carrying this out on your behalf. There are some permutations to that can happen too, but that's the most likely scenario. And we can't advise you. It's not permissible for us to advise you what you should put in your privacy policy, but we can give you an example of what you might look at. And so the short answer is Continually is definitely GDPR compliant. And because there's a bit of detail there, we can give you all of that in an email. That means that you can check all that off.
Awesome, thank you. All right, we have a request. Can you show how sub accounts work? Can you replace branding? And if I create a sub account, will they have full access to modify anything? Or can I restrict them to view mode that gives access to live chat, but not access to modify the bot?
Right. So there were a few questions in that. And Lindsay, I'm also going to give you a warning that my battery has been running down alarmingly from the time we started this call. So I might need to do a temporary switch in a few seconds.
That's fine. I can do some entertaining. I'm not that entertaining, but you can totally do what you need to.
Do you know, if you don't mind, now's a good time to do it in case it's plummeting as we speak. So I'm going to mute myself and plug the laptop charger in. I'll be 30 seconds.
Wonderful. All right. Hey, Sumolings, it's you and me. We're going to talk for a little bit. I don't know what you want to know, but I'm going to ask some things on triggers because that seems to be a question that's coming up a bit. If you have any other questions that you're like dying to get answered, if you write, hey, Lindsay, there's a good chance I'll see it and we'll get to it. Yeah, I don't know what to say. How's everybody feeling today? Let's go into the chat. I saw somebody had a comment that said that they got a new lead on their first day of using Continually, which was really exciting.
Seamless.
Amazing. I just told them what kind of questions were coming up next. All right, you can take it away. on the last question. Sub
Hey,
accounts.
right. So there were a few questions in there. So I'm actually using a sub account here. And so I have my main admin account. And what will happen is if you create a sub account, it's like an independent container. So the perfect use is for a client, but you can also use it for other things. Like if you have different brands, if you have different environments, you might create a staging account. As the main account owner, you can switch between these. And then all of the bots and all of the integrations, even the embed code is unique to that account. So here, the apps that I've connected in this sub account are different. Now, the branding is inherited from the parent account. So what I'm going to do is I'll real quick switch back to so this is how branding works. So branding is inherited across the accounts. So if I want to, I can go in. I'm not going to do this because this is actually a live account. I can remove and replace the logo. I can set the sidebar description, and I can remove that. I can change the link. So that's how the branding settings work. And what you set here in the main account is inherited in the sub accounts. So if you apply a logo here or cascade down, if that's not what you need and you are looking for something else, there's a new feature that we're really excited about, but we're always open to feedback. And from the question, it sounded like there was something specific in mind. So be very happy to talk through that. On the sub accounts list here, you can see all the I have 3 sub accounts set up here. And so I'm going to go back and sign into this one. So you can have a really common scenario is you have a team of 5 people and 10 clients. What you want to do is add yourself and your 4 teammates to your main account and then create 10 sub accounts, 1 per client. You and the 5 users in your core team will be able to sign in, like I just did there, into all of the sub accounts so that you can operate, adjust bots, and so on. Now, there was an additional question related to sub accounts, which is about user restrictions. So you might need to just make sure I don't misrepresent the question, Lindsay, but what I thought I heard is that it's important sometimes to have users with different level of permissions, and can you restrict what people do within the product? Did I get that right?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, so that's sort of independent of the sub account feature. It's not currently possible, but again, this is something that's come up recently on the deal page. We are looking at an initial step right now, so something that's in development is the ability to lock down the user permissions to separate between a chat user, someone who's only responding to leads and to live chat messages, and have this reduced user role where they can't edit the bots or configure integrations and so on. So you heard it here first. It's in development. I don't have a firm timeline on it because we don't like to promise those things, but I'd be pretty confident you're going to see that arrive before the end of the AppSumo deal.
Awesome. Can we assign chat triggers? There are 2 questions here. So can we assign chat triggers? And then the second question was, can you assign a trigger based on browser and specific pages on the website?
So I'm not sure I understand the question. So in terms of triggering the bot,
yeah, I believe that's right.
Just read it back to me again, Lindsay, because I want to make sure I understand the question right.
Sure. The first question was, can we assign chat triggers? And the second question was, can you trigger based on browser and specific pages on the website?
Right. So I think, yeah, is the answer. So there are a couple of different ways to trigger the interactions that people have. And so in the bot list that we were looking at earlier, you can, the primary way I think about it is with targeting. So you can set some rules around where your chat experience is going to display. and who is going to see what. So here you have this example of the pizza company that we went through on the homepage bot. And what happens is when your website loads the continually embed code, we check through the list of bots that you have here to see which one is the first match for the page that you're on. So here, this bot is offline. That's not going to appear anywhere unless we directly link to it. If I set this one to be live, if I install this embed code, that's going to be the first bot that appears. Now, if I want to have someone visiting the pricing page, what I would actually do is you can drag and reorder them like this, and it's pretty cool. I might put that to the top of the list. So if I want to target a bot to a specific page, I would put that bot at the top of the list so it matches first and put a targeting rule there. Those targeting rules don't just have to be for URL, that you can do all kinds of cool things. So in fact, I'll go back and I'll pick a bot that doesn't have any targeting rules. I'll build them from scratch. So if I was to want to create a targeting rule here, I can choose the page URL structure that we looked at, but also I could say this is for new visitors only, or I could say this is for returning visitors, or for people who are coming from a specific type of traffic. I could choose whether it is only for mobile or not displayed to mobile at all. I can also use hours and time of day to set an out of hours bot, for example. So it means you can have some really cool ways to serve up who sees what. And then the other thing that we were talking about just slightly earlier is the appearance options. So you can have different triggers for how the bot appears. You can control the format of it. You can set whether it appears automatically. You can trigger it with a different element using that attribute that I showed. You can also trigger it in JavaScript using our JavaScript API, and there's documentation at docs.continual.ly for that. So you can choose to start a particular conversation in a single page app, for example. You can also, using the JavaScript API, you can do things like delay it and so on. It's really sort of advanced. So really the sky's the limit in terms of the triggers that you offer.
Awesome. All right, this one is another two-parter. On the Slack integration, are you able to reply to live chats in Slack rather than logging in online? Also, how many seats does the Slack integration require?
Right. So yes, we covered that previously. And so rather than do it now, I think I see there's a lot of questions. And so I won't get through as many questions if I do a full live demo.
Answers and not show us stuff. You can just say yes or no, and here we go.
Yeah, good. Right. So yes, you can do that. And if you want, we can follow up with some help documentation on exactly how that works. But the question will appear, or the notification will appear in a main channel in Slack. So we use live chat as our notifications channel. You can choose to reply directly, and that will create a new unique channel for that customer. You asked about how many seats that requires. So you should size the number of seats, the number of people who are going to be replying. And so if you're only going to have, very common, we find that teams will designate 1 or 2 people to be responding to live chat. So you probably don't need that many seats for the live chat scope.
Awesome. All right, we have somebody who's already using Continually. They purchased it on AppSumo previously when it was promoted here. If they purchase codes again now, will it count as double the page views per month and sub accounts? Can it be used across more websites and landing pages that have different domains?
Right. So look, that sounds great. We're delighted that you came on board last year, and the codes that you already have will stack with any new ones that you purchase. So if you bought 1 or 2 codes previously and you want to add another 1 or 2 to stack to 3 or even to 5, those add up. And so yes, additional codes will increment the number of page views, the number of seats, the number of sub accounts. If you stack to 3 codes, you unlock the new replace branding feature. You can also unlock a feature for custom domain. I didn't show that on the landing page. I am going to do that real quick because it's a question that's come up on the deal page. So here's this full screen landing page, which is really cool. And by default, that will be at like paul.continual.ly or pizzaco.continual.ly. There's a button here to connect a domain. If you stack 3 codes, you can add a custom domain. So that could be chat.pizzacompany.com, which is really cool. So yes, we'd love to see the customers who jumped on board previously come back and expand what they can do with the product.
Awesome. All right. We have somebody asked if the recording will be available later. Yes, it will be. Can a bot initially greet a visitor by recognizing the origin geographical region and greet them according to time of day?
Yes, is the short answer. So there's a few different ways you can do that. You can set targeting rules by geographic origin, which is a very helpful thing to do. And inside the bot builder, you can have conditional logic to craft different responses based on time of day and day of week. So you can say something like, good morning, totally possible.
Cool. If I go offline, does the bot automatically show an offline message?
Yes, so we have a way to control online and offline status. And so when I'm in live chat, I can say that I'm online or offline. And if I connect my Slack workspace, we can also look at your Slack status for online and offline status as well.
All right. Can a custom domain be added for each sub account, or is this only for the main account?
So the custom domain feature for landing pages, so the ability to have these custom landing pages, has one custom domain per sub account. And if you stack 3 codes, you'll get a custom domain for each sub account that you have. So that would be up to 15 sub accounts in that case, which is pretty cool.
All right. So in true AppSumo fashion, we have, I'm so sorry about her. In true AppSumo fashion, we have a lot of questions about roadmap and integrations. I don't want to go through like every single question about every single integration, but can you tell us a little bit about what you're excited about on the roadmap and show us integrations?
Yeah, for sure. So this is the product roadmap for Continually. We previously used a Trello board and moved to this new format. And so these are all things that are coming up, a lot of it from the AppSumo community, and we're really excited. Now, we haven't processed all of the incoming suggestions just because there's a lot there. I guess what I would say is that we have been, and if you look at the Continually platform over the last year, we've been adding a lot of integrations, and you can see those inside the product. And so if I look at on the roadmap, the things that people have been suggesting, there's a lot of integrations coming up. Things like Zoom and integrating so that you dynamically get a meeting link. That's a core feature. You can definitely expect to see that. Something like an integration with nifty.pm. It's not a platform I'm familiar with, so we're going to need to scope out what API they have and what features are available, and to see how it fits against some of the other things that are suggested. So look, it seems like there are some, Sweet Dash, that seems very popular. There are some things that are really exciting. We'll need to scope a little bit of them, and you can expect that pattern of us to be adding integrations, every week, every month. That's going to continue. So yes, we're excited about that.
Awesome. All right. So we have a question. Can you show an example of building and embedding a lead gen form within the chat?
Right. So you can't embed a form within the chat, but what you can do is, I suppose, achieve that same outcome of gathering the customer information in a more conversational way. And so the way I would do that is here we had this example of a pizza company. So if you wanted to have a kind of classic lead gen bot, I would create one from either lead capture or qualifying questions. I'd use qualifying questions. So I'd have a first question that asks about the buyer's intent. And in lead capture, you want to know what problem does this person have that I can help them with. So here there are 3 options, and you might have problem A or opportunity B or challenge C. And then as you go through those, there are different kind of classic lead gen data you might capture. So you might say, you might build out a flow with what's your name, you might capture their email address. And so if I want to know more about pricing, I'm going to move all of these down here. I'll ask what's their name, what's their email address, and when suits for a demo. And that's the same flow you're executing with the lead gen form, but it's more conversational. You can capture this insight about the problem or intent that they have. You can also add more personality. I recommend using emojis, GIFs, images, video, linking to content. We see the customers who build more rich, engaging bots, as opposed to a kind of more straightforward form, get better conversion, get better results, and it's really quick and easy to do here.
Awesome, thank you. We got a couple questions about translations in multiple languages. So how to configure the chat for multiple languages, and can I fully translate the front end experience?
You sure can. So the way that works is each sub account has independent localization settings. And so here you can translate everything the visitor sees in terms of conversation objects and live chat, dates and times. At the moment, you can translate all of this. There's an area we're going to improve in the product in the future. And so we realize that there's a bit of work to go through and to customize that, but it works great right now and it'll get even better over time. A question came up recently about the appointment emails and the appointment reminders that come out. That's something you can expect to see appear here again while the deal is running. So yes, you can translate or localize all of the text that your visitor sees.
Awesome. Are there reports?
At the moment, we rely on Google Analytics for reporting. So the way that we typically do that is when the visitor engages with the bot, we fire a number of events. We fire an event when they engage with the chat, when they provide an email address, when they book an appointment, and we automatically send that data to Google Analytics so that you can tie the chat interactions as part of your funnel reporting. If you go through and use a goal report in Google Analytics or any report in Google Analytics, you can track the impact that your chat is having. I'd be very happy to send a kind of follow-up how-to on how to do that, because it's actually quite a powerful feature. And it means then it fits with whatever else you're measuring in terms of conversion.
Awesome. The next question we got a couple times is about Facebook messages. Does Continually connect with Facebook messages? Can you send messages through Facebook?
Right, so you can't connect continually with Facebook Messenger. And if that's an absolute requirement for you, something you really need, you shouldn't buy the deal at the moment. The reason I say that is that we can see from the roadmap we were just looking at how popular and important that would be for customers. But there are also some big differences between the Facebook Messenger experience and what's possible on a website. And so because of that, it's not completely clear how that's going to work when we add that support. So I do think, looking at the popularity, it's likely that we'll eventually add support for Facebook Messenger, but we're going to have to prioritize it against the other items in the roadmap. And it may not work exactly as the product works right now because of those differences in how the Messenger experience works. So I would say it'd be great to see as an enhancement in the future, but if it's really core to what you need, this probably isn't, it's a bit too soon for us to commit to that.
Thank you. Yeah, I saw that question come up a few times, so thank you for answering that. All right, so do conversations continue as they move from site page to page?
Yes, they do. And so we have a persistent history of the conversations that someone is having. It depends if you have targeted a different bot on those different pages. Then, so if I move to that pricing page, for example, and you've specified it in that example, I said, I want a new bot to appear on that page. By default, they'll see the new bot, but the conversation history is persistent. And so the visitor can go back in and pick up a conversation they were having before.
Cool. One person asked if you have tutorials, and if so, where are they?
Right. So we have a full knowledge base with a ton of detailed step-by-step articles. It's at help.continual.ly. And if you go to the Getting Started page, you'll see we link to some of these here. So, how to install the code manually. you'll see there's a kind of video walkthrough there. I won't play it. So there are some videos and some walkthroughs. You can sort of find these from within the product. If you go to our help docs, which are linked here, you'll get all the great help content that we have there.
Awesome. This question came up from somebody, and I'm thinking I understand it, but maybe not. Okay, the question is, can we add multiple orders to that ordering system? I believe for the pizza company example. I believe this question.
Yes, so you could do that. That's a great question. So when I was walking through that pizza order, what I would do is use another multiple choice question asking, would you like to order anything else? Or you could do that different ways in the flow. But that'd be a really simple thing to do. Loop them back through the flow again, or change with the quantity. So yes, you could totally do that. You could also, if we were to build up that example, you could sync those orders and store them in something like Google Sheets as well. So, or use the external API object if you had a pizza CRM that you wanted to send them to that we don't natively support. So tons of options.
Awesome. How do I change the starting message from a message to quick replies? Can you show how to change the starting block?
Yeah, let's do that, because this is, again, a really great feature, and I just want to make sure that so I did this, and if you're going back through the video, you'll see I did this for the homepage bot. So inside the bot, there are these 3 tabs. There's the appearance, the messages, and the targeting. Under appearance, there are these options on the side. Quick replies is the second one. And so if you look at any message and you want to make it the first message, you just click that little flag and it gets the orange bar at the top. Here I want to use a multiple choice object, and so that's going to appear instead. You can use any object as the quick reply, so it could be something like the appointment. But the one that works best, I think, that really performs well is that menu style.
Cool. We have a question about data syncing with HubSpot. Some data, specifically company name, does not appear at HubSpot. How do I troubleshoot this?
If there's a particular field that you're not seeing, just drop us a line on support. And so I'm not sure exactly what your question captures, but if there's a troubleshooting to be done, we'll definitely help you with it, and we'll make sure that you get exactly what you need.
Well, thank you. All right. The next one, can you show an example of a speak to a human option?
So yeah, the way that we would do that is right now you can choose to do 2 things. You can target live chat so that live chat is always available on a given bot. And so a good use for this would be if you had a bot for a pricing page and you want people to be able to chat to sales, and that's always available. You can also do that so that those bots have targeting rules, and so they only appear on certain pages. They could appear, for example, only when you're offline. They could appear or only when you're online, only at certain times of the day or week. So that's the most common way to do it right now. I can imagine how in that question you might have an option to have, so we have a notification object here. Maybe you could have a kind of speak to a human object that activates live chat and sort of switches that setting on. That sounds really cool, and we can definitely look at that too. But right now, the way to do it is to set live chat per bot and to use targeting rules to decide where and when you want that to appear.
Awesome. Can you use HTML embed codes for video, or do you have to have a YouTube Vimeo link for video?
You have to have a specified source. It's kind of like a security policy to make sure that we know the source of the content that's being embedded. So we support popular content like YouTube, Vimeo, etc. If there's a provider that you're working with that we don't support, and it's a common platform, it's easy for us to whitelist or to kind of pre-approve the content that we include. And so we just need to know the source of the origin.
Awesome. And Sumolings, this is your heads up that we are going to begin the wrap-up process. I'm going to start slowly, you know the drill. If you have any more questions that you're dying to get answered, go ahead and submit those now. Even if you've done it, if you've already sent the question and I missed it, I'm sorry. You can go ahead and do it again now. This next question is, does the system come with pre-configured example bots?
Right. It does. And the pre-configured existing example bots are these. You have a welcome message, a scheduling bot, a lead capture bot, a sort of multiple choice qualifying question bot. Those are 4 good examples. If you're interested, those will cover most kind of common scenarios. We're interested in looking to add and make more templates available. And so I'd love to hear on the deal page the kinds of use cases or scenarios that would be helpful, because we know there's a lot of creativity in the AppSumo community and others who are building great bots. And so, we're keen to see what we can share and what additional examples we can build out for you.
Awesome. Dan went ahead and resent in the next question I was going to ask. Can the lead gen qualification bot / form customer info be pushed to MailChimp or Google Sheets through integration?
Yes. So we looked at that Google Sheets integration, and if you watch the recording back, you'll see a kind of quick example of that earlier. I'll show you the apps page here, and yes, you can sync in information that comes to all of these different places, including MailChimp, and including, you'll see I've got Google Sheets connected here. So yeah, that works great.
Awesome. All right. Sumolings, if you want to get in your questions, now is your time. Is there a possibility of stacking enough codes to have unlimited seats and unlimited sub accounts?
That isn't possible. That's not how the deal has been structured, although I love the enthusiasm. And
I do too. I love questions like that. There's so much ambition.
Yeah, fantastic. So not right now, but I mean, there's no limit to the number of codes that you can stack though. So stack as many as you think you need. They're never going to be available at such a great price. This is a crazy good deal. So make use of it.
Yeah. And on the opposite end, somebody wants to know, when they only get 1 code, what does it mean to have the continually text link? I know you've explained this one to me, but.
Right. So in the, let me see if I still have that tab open. So for example, on this page, there would be a text link at the bottom saying powered by continually, or here underneath the message, it would say powered by continually at the bottom there. So now, we know that some people are okay with that, and we have our existing customers who have that. If you want to remove that, then you need to add a second code. And so I guess it's a question of how important that is for you. We'd love to see you come on board, and it would be great to see you using that. And I think even if there's only a single code there, there's still a lot of value the tool can unlock in your business and hopefully create for you.
Awesome. All right. I'm going to clarify this one. Christoph, hi, GDPR, he'll email you all this stuff. You don't have to be concerned. They're concerned enough for both of you. And we'll make sure you're taken care of. Can you add more than 10 codes to a single account?
Yes, you can. Absolutely.
Keep them stacking, Dan. You can do it. All right. Is there a possibility to copy bots between different accounts? It would save me a lot of work.
It is. I'm so glad someone asked that question, because I was going to show it earlier and it was a little detailed. This is a great feature with sub accounts. So here, I'm just take control of my mouse. There's a duplicate button for each bot. And if you have sub accounts, I can duplicate it on this account or to another account that I own. It's a great way if you have a common set of customer flows that you deal with all the time. We see people who work in certain verticals, for example, and building up the same kind of bot. You can essentially keep a template in your master account, copy that into a sub account for a client, and then customize it for them a little bit there. It saves a lot of time. It's a really great feature.
Awesome. All right. This is the last question that I have here. Do the sub accounts have their own login page?
They do not. So all accounts use the same app.continual.ly login page. So they would see that same page, and we would just detect the account that they belong to, and they would see an account that appears to be theirs. Kind of like this is exactly what they would see. That's how they would end up on the getting started page, and they would have their own independent workspace.
Awesome, awesome. All right, we've gotten through a lot of these. I'm stalling, as I always do at the end of these things, but it seems like those are the last that are coming through. So I'm gonna come back on camera and go ahead and close this out. Thank you so much, Paul, for going through all of that and for answering. We got through like 70 questions here. So you are awesome. Thank you, Sumolings. If you have not already, you can redeem your code for Continually at appsumo.com/continually. It's starting at just $59 for a lifetime deal. That's for one code. And of course, this is backed by AppSumo's 60-day guarantee. So you can go ahead and get started with it, see how it works for you. And yeah, let us know how it's going. We'd love to know in the comments how it works for you. And of course, if you have any more questions about the deal or the product, you can go ahead and leave those questions for us on the deal page. Thank you so much, Paul.
Hey, no, thank you. And thank you to all of the people who joined today. It was really great to talk through this. And I'll be around for the next few weeks or next couple of weeks on the deal page. Happy to answer more questions there.
Awesome. Thank you all, everybody. Have a good one.
Thanks, Sam.